Hey, Colleen.
Hey, Alicia.
Welcome to
Right
Fucking
now.
Now. Woo! Hey, so you are my second guest host. Thanks so much for joining.
Of
Um,
course.
for people listening in, Colleen is a dear friend from the Abraham Hicks community. Colleen, how long have you been listening to Abraham?
For 20 years, 20 plus years.
She's OG. She's got like experience from when Jerry was alive, etc.
Yes.
So, Colleen is a yoga practitioner trained in so many different areas. She does all the Vedic practices and whatnot. She's just an overall guru in her own right. So, I'm so glad you're here today.
Thanks for having me, Alicia. I appreciate it. I'm glad to spend this time with you and your community.
Thanks. So, Colleen, you had texted me the other day and you had some
Mhm.
things on your mind. What
That's it.
have you been thinking about? What's going on in life right now?
So, my husband and I have been in this tiny camper trailer for over the past 3 years. And so, usually it's just the two of us. We spend a lot of time together in this little 20-foot camper. And recently we've been around people more than usual and being around family and friends, and it's been wonderful. And also, as I'm being around more people, I'm noticing how people defend their limiting beliefs.
Mm.
And so whenever something comes up like that and I notice, I do my best to not judge my loved ones. That's not where I want to be. And I asked myself, well, how am I doing this? And
Mhm.
it's easier to see it for me anyway. It's easier to see it in other people. So I was like, well, where am I defending my own limiting beliefs, or where am I ignoring my limiting beliefs? And so I started thinking about that. And that's when I texted you and was just mentioning some things to you. And so I came up with a couple topics on of my own where I am doing this habit of defending my beliefs. And so I thought, maybe first of all, what is a belief, right?
Oh my gosh, you're in my head. That's exactly the question I was going to ask you. So, okay, what is a belief to you?
So, well, what I've learned through Abraham, that a belief is a thought that you keep thinking. It's a You keep thinking it until it becomes a belief.
Mm.
And so with our limiting beliefs, we're doing that same thing. We're believing something, we're repeating it in our mind or even out loud until it becomes a belief. And our limiting beliefs are beliefs that prevent us from reaching a specific goal or from attaining something that we want. And
Mhm.
so if we can dissolve those beliefs,
Yeah.
or we,
I was gonna say, even a limiting belief could be we don't even realize that it's limiting us, right? We miss out
exactly,
on an experience or a conversation or something. So yes, it could limit us from these big things, but it can limit us moment to moment too.
absolutely. When
Yeah.
you said that, I had the thought of like, Graham, my husband and I, we carry the energy of people being friendly and we're always welcomed. And that's the experience we have when we travel around the country. People are so nice to us. We go into a store, we'll have an interaction with somebody working there that is really personal and beautiful. And then we might have conversations with other people who have exact opposite experiences. And for me, that's based on our beliefs. We just believe that people are going to be nice to us, and that's what we receive.
Mhm. I love that. So what in doing your reflection, maybe what are some examples of limiting beliefs that you see in other people's or any that you've been able to
Mm,
uncover for yourself?
right. Well, one thing I was talking, somebody was asking me about eye exercises, because that is something that I do, yoga eye exercises. I do them daily. And I have a pair of readers. I have two pairs of readers that I rarely use, but I have them in case I'm in a dark place or the print is very tiny, and I will use them when I need them. And I've also noticed that since I do my eye exercises, that my eyesight pretty much stays the same, or sometimes it'll feel like it's getting a little bit better. And when I was talking with somebody the other day, they said, "Oh, well, my eyes have been bad since I was 8," or something like that. And I thought, as soon as they spoke, I thought, okay, that is a limiting belief. And is that serving that person or not? They get to decide that if they want to keep that belief or not. But that was one of the examples that that kind of woke me up to this idea of what am I carrying around. Now I
Mhm.
have some personal, really personal ones that I'm not going to share, but one
Mhm.
that I feel comfortable sharing is I have some low belly fat
Mhm.
that has been sticking around for a while. And I notice different beliefs and different patterns in my mind. I tend to eat whatever I want. So whether it's sweet treats or salty, savory treats, I don't limit myself except that I really try to eat high quality ingredients. And sometimes I'll be eating and I'll be thinking, oh, I shouldn't be eating this.
Mhm.
Well, in those moments, I know that that's not where I want to be vibrationally while I'm intaking something that has
Totally.
potential to be fattening. And
Okay.
so that's a topic. And then maybe like I get plenty of exercise, but maybe I'll be thinking in my mind, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough when
Mhm.
actually I am.
Mhm.
So that's I think an on point limiting belief.
Yeah. Okay. These are such interesting examples. And they both resonate so strong. Actually, all three of them resonate so strongly. With regards to the one on vision and eyesight and I know for me something that's been coming up is around age, right? And this idea of like, wait, is my eyesight going to start going soon?
Mm.
I ran this race recently and all my times this year were slower than last year, but it was a lot hotter. But I had this moment of like, oh, I'm in my 40s now. La la la. It's like, wait. No, no, that's not
Mhm.
it's not what I want to be believing. But
Right.
what's really interesting about the exercise piece, the activity piece, right, is I experienced this myself. Um I I kind of almost have normalized how active I am,
Hmm.
and and it sometimes takes people outside of me to reflect to me the fact that like I'm really, really active comparatively,
Right.
right? And remembering that
Yeah.
I am very active because I do have those moments where I'm like, I went for a 3-mile hike this morning, and as I'm coming in from the hike, I'm like, oh, I could catch that 8 a.m. exercise class, but I just hiked for over an
Right.
hour,
Right.
right? And it's like, do I need to go do that? Or
Hmm.
is there something else I'd rather be doing? So those totally resonate with me is like in that moment as we're participating in the activity, eating, exercise, whatever it might be, looking at the menu and going like, oh, can I see this right now in this low light?
Right.
Right? Is what is that thought that we're having about it and what it,
Mhm.
can we look at that thought and ask, is this a helpful thought or not? I love that.
Right. Yeah. So after I sent you a picture of my journal, what I had journaled, I've been thinking about it, and I don't listen to Bashar much, but you and a few other people from the Abraham community have introduced me to Bashar, and I know that his words would be a permission slip.
Mm,
And Abraham's words are soothe and prepare. So I've been thinking about, well, how do we release these limiting beliefs? And for me, there Abraham is my teacher, so right away I look at what would Abraham say, and so soothe and prepare, and then I really love this idea of the permission slip. Anything that gives you the ability in your mind to go in the direction that you want to be going. So my permission slip might be, well, maybe you can help me with that because I'm not as familiar with the Shar, but with Abraham, with the soothing and preparing, it's the self talk. It's
mhm,
I'm
mhm.
really quite, and it can be on topic or not, depending on how I'm feeling. But some examples might be, I really am quite active, and I start every single day with yoga. That jump starts me, even if it's a gentle practice. It gets my body moving. It starts my metabolism, and I eat well, and I eat healthy and I enjoy healthy food, and we do a lot of walking, and I like taking care of my body. I'm good at taking care of my
Mhm.
body. I'm seeing results in different areas of my body. So these are different ways that I can soften that limiting belief. And then my work is to do it regularly,
Mhm.
which is where I am now, instead of what I haven't been doing, so that I can start to create this belief that I am doing everything that I need to do to have the body that I want to have.
Absolutely.
And then maybe what would a permission slip look like?
So I like to take what you're talking about and put it into like a tangible form would be like writing out these things, right? Like making lists of positive
Mm-hmm.
aspects, right? That is
Yes.
a very specific Abraham Hicks exercise. And that's exactly a thing that Bashar would call a permission slip.
Okay.
Right, because it is helping that momentum and it's raising the vibration. And so that's a perfect example of a permission slip. Even just running that exercise in your own mind, in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, right, is a little bit of a permission slip. Yeah, it's also kind of the foundation of all reality and creation, right? In the sense that thoughts become things, right?
Right.
Our words become reality. And so I'm curious, I've been listening to some Joel Olstein. He's actually this like really big televangelist guy. I never heard of him before. Um, but all of his, Christian teachings, I'm using quotation fingers, um, it's just law of attraction. It's
Okay.
all law of attraction based. Uh, content. And one of the things that he says that it feels like it's taking it a little bit of a step further than what Abraham talks about is he's like, you can't just think these things. You can't just have a mental positive outlook. Like we actually have to be speaking these things and acting on
Mm-hmm.
these things. And
Right.
and I thought that that was a really interesting, I guess, addition to
Mm-hmm.
what some of our other spiritual teachers say. And I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on that? And do you have any experience of, thinking versus speaking versus acting and any momentum there?
Sure. Well, I believe it because when we have thoughts that we can feel are in the lower vibration, we're taught to not speak those words because when you speak them, they get more power and more momentum, right? So
True.
the longer that we stay on a topic, the more momentum that topic gains.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be the same thing for a positive topic. The more we talk about it, the more we focus on it, the more momentum it gains. And as long as we're going in that direction of what we want to see, what we want to gain. I was recently, we had a conversation within the past couple weeks where you asked me directly, what do you want? What do you want? Are you focusing on what you want to see? Something like that. And I thought, okay, that's so clear. Am I focusing on the outcome that I want?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's the same thing, right? If we're talking about, as long as we're not ignoring how we're feeling, because I don't think we can fake out vibration. So our words need to match how we're feeling rather than I could say all these wonderful, nice things about my body. But if I'm thinking, oh, my belly's so fat, underneath it, then that's where the momentum is. And I'm not making any leeway. Was
Mm-hmm.
that clear?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. And I love the example of it in both the negative and in the positive. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a perfect example of that. So I guess with that said, I mean, do you have anything in particular that you are trying to build momentum around or things that you're setting into motion and creating with your thoughts and words and action?
Always.
Good. Oh, great response.
Yes,
Love it.
yes. Um, I think it might seem like a silly example, but wanting to change my body. parts of my body. And so realizing that I've been getting in my way for a long time now, and that it's time for me, and I'm ready to start this self-talk in the direction of where I want to go, and leave the rest behind. And Graham and I have decided to settle, or not, I don't like that word, have decided to land, and we've chosen our top location in the United States, which is Haley, Idaho. And so
Ooh,
we'll be creating a new life there and focusing on a life that is beautiful and successful, and bringing our teachings to our new community. And so that will be something fun that I get to create in the next few months.
that's awesome. Sounds like you have some good preparing underway. I
Yes,
like that.
yes, for sure.
I like that. A thing that I've been playing with is realizing I have time scarcity. And
Hmm.
it's kind of so ingrained in me. I don't even realize like, oh, I'm in a time scarcity mode, right? I'm rushing. I'm thinking like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm not going to get this done in time, la la la. And so I've really been playing with it and allowing myself some leeway. So a recent example, I traveled to New Orleans for Jazz Fest, and I was traveling by myself, and came home after the festival, was going to take a quick shower, grab some dinner, go hit another show that night. And I was going to meet some people later that night. Um, but I found myself as I'm like in my hotel room, like, oh, I should hurry and, grab clothes and la la la. And then I was like, wait a second. This is Jazz Fest, right? Like, I'm gonna be there if I'm there on time or not, right? Like, I wanted a nice hot shower after being out in the sun all day,
Hmm.
dirty and whatnot. And then I wanted to enjoy my dinner. And it was so interesting in that moment. I kind of remember I was in the bathroom. I was being like, wait, I don't have to rush.
Right.
The rest of the evening, the timing of everything
Hmm.
was perfect. And so I've been playing with this more and more. And in those moments where I'm like, minutes left, I gotta get out the door, whatever, right? Being like, but wait a minute, like what happens if I am 5 minutes late, right? And who says it's late anyway? Maybe the other person,
Right.
right at that same time, and it's actually right on time. There's
Hmm.
even the use of that word late, it's continuing that momentum. So becoming
Hmm.
aware of those moments, and so that's a concept that I've been playing with, where I'm trying to, soften the negative limiting beliefs about it, and then playing with the idea of like, all timing is perfect, right? Regardless
Hmm.
if I'm quote early or quote late, it's the timing's always going to be perfect. So,
And perhaps you can even play with when you're meeting somebody, maybe not saying an exact time, or
ooh.
right, give yourself a little window of let's meet around such and such time, and so that
Mhm.
you're not actually having to deal with those words of late, on time, early.
I love that. Yeah, that's a
Yes.
great idea.
And I wanted to go back around to a comment you made earlier about aging. And aging is something that um, I talk about in my teaching and in my teachings, and share with people how to age gracefully. And it's almost rampant, the talk that surrounds aging. And I truly believe that we can get better with age. And I have, in so many ways, gotten better with age and continue to improve. And recently we were having a group conversation, and I was saying, if life isn't getting better every year, you're not doing it right.
Oh, oh, goosebumps. I love that. I love that.
And I feel that for myself, like every year life just gets better and better. And one person in our group said, well, I'm doing it wrong. And it's not to um suggest that somebody's doing it wrong. It's to suggest that it actually can be fun. It's meant to be fun and joyous. And yes, it can get better and better. And all of those limiting beliefs about what happens to the body, just consider for yourself, you and everybody else and myself, is that serving me? Is that thought serving me? Is that something I want to carry into my future? What can I replace that thought with?
Absolutely. It's so, oh, I love that. It, if you're not, if life isn't getting better year over year, day over day, even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's something we can adjust. So,
Right,
um,
right.
I want to bring this to, again, just being at Jazz Fest and a lot of all sorts of artists. Santana, for example, was there, and he's quote getting older, right? And he actually was in the hospital recently, I think, for some sort of illness. But besides the point, some people were commenting of like, oh, he's so amazing, even though he's whatever age. And in my head, I was like, actually, isn't he actually getting better and better and better than what he was, when he started his career 40, 50 years ago? And I think about that a lot of musicians, who like the ones that I grew up with, my favorite ones in the 90s, right? Sure, now some of them, they're in their 50s and 60s and 70s. But they've had this many more decades of playing and performing and
Yes.
whatnot. So of course, a lot of them are still doing amazing and like
Mm-hmm.
even more amazing. And I almost feel bad for some of them because, think about their songs that they wrote and produced when they were 20, and everybody's expecting them to play those songs, and they're
Right.
more basic than their talent and abilities here decades later. So it's just, that's a fun idea that I've been thinking about, particularly around music. And
So true. Yes. I have heard even some musicians say that they want to retire stuff that they've done that they created when they were younger because it doesn't resonate with them anymore.
yeah, so true.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, well, hey, I really appreciate this discussion. I think we covered
Yes.
a lot of ground here today. The idea of beliefs, the idea of identifying beliefs, both positive and negative,
Mm-hmm.
some different ideas for changing momentum, some different tools, suggestions, lots of great personal examples. I love hearing that. Do you have any closing thoughts or comments?
I would say that it can be our thoughts are in our mind and we create them, right? And so it can take dedication to create new thoughts and new patterns. So be gentle with yourself and continue or start to do the self-talk. I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a great job. I am willing to focus on this. I'm willing to look at this in a new way. And all of those little things that you say to yourself, they have power. And
Mm,
that's how we start to create that new pathway that we're looking for, to create the beliefs that we want and to let go of those limiting beliefs that may be holding us back.
I love that. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for your time today. I'm
Yes.
honored that you're willing to come chat with me, and I look forward to having you back again soon.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I love being with you.
Yay.
Namaste.
Namaste.